Yeah. I've never been so hot and cold at the same time.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? For First We Feast, I'm Sean Evans, and you're watching Hot Ones. It's the show with hot questions and even hotter wings. And today we're joined by Awkwafina. She's the Golden Globe award-winning actress you know from films like Crazy Rich Asians and The Farewell. Her latest project, though, is the highly anticipated animated film Raya and the Last Dragon, which opens in theaters and on Disney Plus with premiere access on March 5th. Awkwafina, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
What's your mindset like going into this 10-wing gauntlet here?
I feel like everyone, like when they come on Hot Ones, like everyone's a little scared, but like I saw this show called Champions, and it's like an episode of Netflix where like they basically compete and they eat the ghost peppers and then they talk about this thing that happens to their stomach after. It's like a lot. What is the aftermath like, Sean?
Well, you know what? It's funny that you mentioned Champions because I actually know that guy. That features Smokin' Ed Curry.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he's
yeah.
He's the guy who did that episode.
Yes.
And he actually makes this hot sauce here at the end.
Oh,
so we'll
no.
get the full pucker butt experience here today, Awkwafina.
Oh, no. Oh, shit. Bring it on. Wow. Mm-hmm. That's nothing, dude.
So I want to start by talking about your new film, which tells the story of a lone warrior tracking down your character Sisu as part of a last-ditch effort to save humanity. As someone who oscillates between Nora and Awkwafina, did you feel a special connection in this film playing the role of a shape-shifting dragon?
Oh, wow. Wow, that's a big metaphor to my life. But yeah, I mean, thinking about it now, I think that shape-shifting, definitely a duality with Sisu and also I think in my own personal life. So that's a really good observation.
This is maybe an odd question, but I've always been curious about this. When you're cast to play an animated character, do they already have the art created for that character, or is there any sort of reverse engineering after it's been cast?
Well, I think for me, when you watch Sisu, you can see that the animators use my eyes and like my teeth. I saw maybe sketches of Sisu, but I never saw her animated until I recorded, and so that there were lines. I think that's the really cool thing about doing voiceovers. Yeah, it's a really collaborative thing. Oh, this has no little hole. This has no little butthole on the thing. All right, let's do it. That's so good. I'm reopening that.
So having been in close proximity to the great Go 90 experiment, I remember talk with Awkwafina quite well.
You do?
I do, because in Complex, as the Go 90 operation was on this floor.
Yes, right.
So I remember that whole thing. What, in your opinion, makes for a good talk show interview? And has your experience as a host at all informed how you approach being a guest now that you're on the other side of the table?
It does all the time. Yeah. I think it's it's not easy being an interviewer because you have to constantly adapt yourself to make that other person feel comfortable. As a guest, I'm so embedded in the host mentality that I want to make the host comfortable too. So it just is if you're already a pushover, it's not a great game to play, I guess is what I'm saying, yeah.
So I remember when, the New York City rap blogs, when your music started breaking on those. And now in recent years, you're getting profiled for the cover of Vogue. As someone with a foot in both worlds, where do you find your biggest critics?
Always yourself, dude, always. For me, like a big problem is that I feel like people don't know me anymore. So that was like my personal life. That's like a big thing. Like I just like feel like I went through a lot of experiences that people assume were a certain way, especially later on, like when great stuff started happening. So it's always gonna be me, no matter what, because no one's really gonna know what's going on, So far, really good. Yeah, I could do this all day. Oh, again, no little butthole. So that's what does that mean? Does that mean that they're like rogue? Like they're the kombucha people that like put all the pulp in?
In this lineup, we are mostly buttholeless, actually. That first one was tight butthole.
I poured so much.
That's the problem. That's the dangerous game. That's the dangerous game, Awkwafina, when you're playing without a butthole over here.
Anyone ever go to the hospital?
Chrissy Teigen said on the Tonight Show that after her episode, she went to the doctor. So that's the only known one that I have. But that happened.
Wow. Wow. So that's the first time it kind of yells at you a little bit, you know?
Awkwafina, we actually have a curveball for you on this swing. We've called in an old friend who's been with you since the release of Yellow Ranger and the early campus tours. That's right. Without further hype building, we are going to welcome to the show the host of First We Feat's The Takeout, John Park, aka Dumbfoundead, is here with a set of questions for Awkwafina from Memory Lane.
We've had many blurry nights at karaoke's from K-Town, LA to 32nd in New York. What is your go-to karaoke song?
My go-to karaoke song that he probably is thinking of is well, we all like to do a little Hey Ma, and Dreams by Fleetwood Mac. Dumb doesn't also do karaoke. Everyone probably sees him as like this like karaoke guy. He doesn't really sing. I think he enjoys being around, you know, with the fruit and whatnot, but like I don't think he actually enjoys like partaking, which is interesting.
We've done our fair share of sketchy college shows. Do you have any memorable tour stories?
Yes, we do. Can we share them here? I don't really know if that's the best idea. Dumb does this thing where he forgets all the lyrics, and then he'll do a thing where he'll like, let's take it back, and blame it on the audience. So he would do that, but then one time I think even after he blamed it on the audience, he forgot. He continued to forget. Touring with Dumb is the best, man. That was some of the best times of my life, going on tour with those guys.
All right, we have one more for you.
I remember teaching you a lot of Korean words, and you asked me how to say cat nipples in Korean. Do you still remember how to say that?
I just remember ne koyangi, which means my cat. I don't remember nipples though. Okay, yeah, let's talking. What's your relationship with hot sauce?
I've eaten straight up Carolina Reapers before, so it's like wherever the ceiling is, I've hit it and I've survived it. So I think that gives me some peace of mind, but...
Do you ever think that you could do competitive hot sauce eating?
No. Those people are crazy. Like when we were talking about that show, like I ate one Carolina Reaper one time and it ruined two times actually, but it was like giving yourself food poisoning for 12 hours. People in those eating contests, they'll eat like 15 or 16. I don't even know how that's possible.
Oh man. I'm not panicking. I'm fine. I'm chilling, dude. It's great. Yeah.
So I understand that you come from a long line of restaurateurs. Your great-grandfather, he opened a Cantonese restaurant in the 1940s in Flushing, Queens. And then, of course, your grandmother, she ran a restaurant out in Port Jefferson.
Yeah, yes. How'd you know that? That's cool. Port Jeff, how'd you know about Port Jeff? That's cool.
Because everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. And then there's a part of your life that sounds like it was almost written for a sitcom, but I know that it's real. You worked at a vegan bodega. Between that job and then working at a very legit Japanese restaurant, which one of those hospitality gigs do you remember more fondly?
Well, I think I remember them both, but the Japanese restaurant was like I remember spilling hot sake onto a woman's coat, like her beautiful coat. And she was on what looked like a first date where she was uncomfortable to like really yell at me, like to really go off on me. So she kind of held it in, and as I walked away, she went, "Oh my God, I've had so many bad waitresses in New York City." And I just remember hearing that, and to this day, like I still really haven't gotten that out of my head. It still kind of makes me feel like really bad for doing that. So I didn't get a lot of that at the vegan bodega. I got more of that at the Japanese restaurant for sure. halfway point. Okay. Have you ever met the copywriter for hot sauce brands, and what are they like?
You know, before I got this show, I was actually a copywriter, and I have to say that I really respect hot sauce marketing and branding. You know, like you can have what kind of looks like cool craft beer labels, and then you have what are like hellish landscapes of like fire and brimstone and grim reapers and skulls on fire. So I think like that kind of range, it offers great opportunity for like a good ad person.
You're right. It can go from like comedy to horror in terms of just their that's really cool. I never thought about that because you can't really advertise anything else like that.
I love the bottles. Like I almost like love hot sauce as like a collector's item put on your shelf thing more than as a condiment.
Yeah, I actually the only thing that I have collectors in my actual kitchen at home is a collab that Hot Ones did with 88 Rising, and like I treat that thing like it's like Olympic medal.
Clouds.
Yes, I do. I put it up. I don't know. I haven't opened it. It's just there. I'm very proud of it too because it's a cool collab. Yeah.
All right, Awkwafina, we have a recurring segment on our show called Explain That Gram, where we do a deep dive on our guest's Instagram, pull interesting pictures that need more context. So I'll show you the picture. You just tell us the bigger story. You gave a really touching tribute to Lucy Liu in your Saturday Night Live monologue. Do you remember the first thing that you said to her when you guys finally got a chance to meet?
I think it was probably like, hey. I think it was literally that. I think it was like, well, hey, whoa, what's up? That's how you know I'm really nervous when my spine is in a complete C and I'm just like, hey, what's up? Yeah, cool. I was so nervous to meet her, but she actually has a very unnerving quality, which is good, right? I felt the warmth and then I, straightened up a little bit. So she's really cool. My grandma gave me these because she knew I was doing this show. They're Chinese stomach medications. I might do that later. Oh, Tears of the Sun. Oh man, I'm very nervous. I don't know why. I think I'm nervous to meet you because I've been watching you for so long and like, I'm a fan. So there you go. You remember Go 90 and
I remember
Talk.
Go 90. I remember my vag. I go all the way back.
Hell yeah, that's tight. Respect. Okay. All right, so we're just gonna go into it. It's the back half here.
Back half here. So I get the sense that your creative spirit is rooted in a deep, abiding love for storytelling. Reading Bukowski at age 11, and then of course you had early musical influences like Tom Waits and jazz legend Chet Baker. What do you mean when you muse that embarrassment and humility are major sources of humor and creativity in general?
When I was young, I felt out of place a lot, and then I also felt, after my mom passed away, that I was always this kind of like symbolism of like sorrow, of a child that his life is broken, and I didn't want to be that symbol. And at the same time, I realized that people would laugh out of my inadequacies. So like when I was embarrassed, or when I would humiliate myself, or when I would do things without really thinking about them, or saying crazy things, that people would often be very amused by it. Those influences that you talk about, it wasn't that like, oh, I'm like so fucking cool that I read Charles Bukowski at 11. My dad had a book of his poetry. The thing about Bukowski that got me was that he absolutely hated himself in a lot of ways. And he knew the circumstances of his life. He knew that he just knew he was self-aware in a way that I've never read any author be. And he was self-deprecating in a way that it really right now it makes me excited, because when I read that stuff, self-awareness and wallowing in something that that you won't change, that you should, I think is so beautiful. I've always been more attracted to the kind of the tortured experience of things, because I truly do believe that a lot of things are born out of really bad events sometimes. That's what shaped me. All right, the honey badger. When like a lotion, I want to say maybe a moisturizer, something that separates, and it's been since high school, and it's separated. I think that saved me here, because I think the honey badger, it's separated a little bit. So at the top was just the nice oil. Oh, never mind. Wow. Oh wow. Oh, okay. Yeah. When I'm in pain, sometimes I tend to yell, so I'll move the thing over so you don't get any reds on your ears.
So as the creator of Nora from Queens and the author of a travel guide called Awkwafina's NYC, you've long repped the city throughout your work. And recently, there has been think piece after think piece after counter think piece after counter think piece. New York is dead. Do you pay attention to that trend, and what do you think of it?
New York isn't dead. I don't think, I will say that New York is constantly changing to the point where, you know, when I was young, and that New York that I loved was someone's version of a changed, not the same New York, right? And I think that's the kind of thing about, well, New Yorkers are always going to complain about how much New York is changing, and New York won't stop changing. You know, we're all going through something as like a nation and as a globe. Once we're able to kind of see our way out of that, whatever these think pieces think New York was, it'll return to it.
There's been a grassroots movement to save businesses, and in particular restaurants, that have been hit especially hard by the pandemic. How intertwined is the food in New York City to the essence of what makes New York City great, in your opinion?
So intertwined. Someone has asked, like, what's your favorite food city? And I think that, you know, New York is the city to prepare you for all of those food cities. So that when you go to, you know, like Oaxaca, or you go to India, or you go to Singapore, all these places, like you kind of understand the bases because you've had them at some point, you know? So yeah, New York won't exist without it won't exist without the food culture. It's not New York. All right, yeah. Yeah, wow. That's what that is. Yeah, yep, that's what that is. Wow. Wow.
Immediately.
Wow. Wow. You know what that tastes like? I'm super into mukbang, and there is a noodle with a very innocent looking chicken on it. And it's not even chicken flavored, but it's called like chicken bulldog. It's like a cheese chicken thing, but this specific noodle, oh wow. How come it doesn't go away? Wow.
I think if anything, it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. So before you ever created a garage band beat, I know that you were somewhat of a wunderkid on trumpet, gaining admission to the highly selective New York City Arts High School LaGuardia. And you know, I think brass instruments, similar to maybe the accordion or the bagpipes, I feel like sometimes people goof on them. You know, they don't get the respect that they deserve. For someone who has seen the light, what to you is most sacred about the trumpet?
What's sacred to me about the trumpet is that it carries your own voice through it. So you're able to sing through it. So your individual voice is carried through it. People can you can rag on all you want, but I'm gonna blast you away with the volume.
LaGuardia is often called the Fame School for its formidable list of A-list alums that go from Al Pacino to Jennifer Aniston to Nicki Minaj. Was that kind of setting, that environment, with those expectations, was that a blessing or a curse for you at that age?
I think this is a story with a lot of people, and it's really a testament to who you are. Like, are you gonna sink or swim? Because I was like the best trumpet player in my junior high school, but then like probably the least best trumpet player in LaGuardia, which essentially vets the best trumpet players out of the entire city. I think it could be both. I just kind of missed having kind of a no strings relationship with the trumpet rather than having to practice all the time and stuff.
All right, Awkwafina, are you ready to move on? I
know. Does it get worse? It doesn't get worse. What's it called when your mouth sweats? Oh, drooling, duh. There's no butthole on it, so it's like it comes out so much. But the butthole one, sometimes if you shake it, you know what? Fuck it. Ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Yep.
Oh, You ever been so hot you're cold?
Yeah, I get those chills and those sweats all the time.
Oh, wow.
Just part of being me. So it's hard to overstate your meteoric rise from winning awards to red carpets to the string of powerhouse films that you've been in over the last few years. Lulu Wang, the director of The Farewell, said you sent her an audition tape that convinced her to cast you. How much did you channel your own experiences with Awkwafina for that audition?
100%. It was also like the beauty at which Lulu was telling the story, but also she was what I think is like a totem or an anchor for me to get in the zone, for me to feel like the true seriousness is like what's at stake here. My grandma, it was only my grandma, you know? The entirety of the shoot, I think about my childhood with my grandma. My mom first went and my grandma kind of came in, and when I got sent that script, I really had just never imagined that anything like it would come to me. Sorry, I'm just gonna dab my forehead. I never thought that I'd have to do that. Okay, wow. Yeah, let's go, I'm ready, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do it. Do you remember what Bobby Lee episode, did he shart?
He might have more than sharted. You know,
wow.
I vividly remember that.
That was the best episode ever.
I remember exactly where I was. I remember that moment. I remember everything about
you
the
were
Bobby Lee
freaking out
shoot.
too. I remember you were like, whoa, like, are you all right?
That sound, when that hit, it never really hit the boom mic like it hit my ear in real time.
Oh, no.
Like it had a real sort of like flop quality to it.
Right. It did. I'm replaying it myself, yeah.
I'm not threatening anybody. I'm not.
Did something just happen?
Yeah, hold on.
No.
Oh, did you hear it?
Flop quality to it. All right. Yeah. I've never been so hot and cold at the same time.
All right, Awkwafina, here we are approaching the summit of Mount Scoville, and on our hike along the way, boy, have we covered a lot of ground, from your films to your music to your comedy. But I want to close with a tribute to one of your childhood obsessions, and that is the 1997 classic film Air Bud. And believe it or not, it's actually spawned something like 12 sequels and offshoots. How do you explain the connection and impact that 1997 cinematic masterpiece had on a young Awkwafina?
Couldn't have big dogs when I was little. We lived in an apartment. We don't want to pet big dogs, but I knew that the big dogs, you could train them to do all kinds of, like, shoot hoops and all that kind of stuff. One thing the impact that it did have on me, could I ever own an Air Bud? Would there ever be a movie about like my experience with an Air Bud? Because no, you'd have to recast the parents to be Asian. I loved that movie. And also Homeward Bound. Have you seen Homeward Bound?
Classic story about getting lost and finding your way
home.
back. And you know what? Just like the wings of death, how you can start off, be in a comfortable place, things take a left, things take a right, they zig, they zag, you lose your way in the spice woods, but you know what? Awkwafina, eventually you find the light and you come out on top, and now there's nothing left to do but roll out the red carpet for you, my friend. This camera, that camera, probably just the one that you're looking at. Let the people know what you have going on in your life.
Well, right now, I'm probably gonna take a nap after this. Please see Raya and the Last Dragon, which comes out in theaters on March 5th. Also, watch Breaking News in Yuba County, which is also coming out pretty soon. I don't have the exact date on that. Also, this one here. This one. Don't. Anyway, thank you, Sean. I'm a huge fan. I continue to be after this.
Yeah, I hope I didn't do anything to fracture the friendship, sending the sauces
No.
your way. If anything, I hope it's brought us closer.
No, you've helped grow the fanship and the friendship and all that. So, thank you.
Hey, what's going on, Hot Ones fans? This is Sean Evans checking in to say thank you so much for watching today's episode, and I have an exciting announcement. A very exciting announcement. A look at us, who would have thought, not me moment. That is right, some of my favorite shoes of all time, now in hot sauce red, and then of course, we have the milky, silky, classic legacy. The spicified questions and the refreshment-inspired classic legacy, Hot Ones and Reebok going together like hot sauce and chicken wings. The questions are some of my favorite shoes of all time, and I can't believe we have a Hot Ones version right here. Look at the details. You have the flames on the laces, you have the chicken on the back, and then you have a dab of hot sauce to represent the last dab, and then check out the Scoville scale. 1,996,000 Scovilles, 1996, that's when the shoe came out. That's when I was running around the playground at South Elementary with my questions on, and here they are on the Hot Ones table. Who would have thought? And then of course, you have the classic legacy, milk inspired, has the splash of milk along the side, and then, Bill, see if you can pan in real quick on this. Refreshments on the front, the chicken on the back. Pick up your pair at Reebok.com/Hot Ones, Reebok.com/Hot Ones to get your hands on a pair. Oof, spicy.